I will be making an Egyptian style omelet called the Eggah. It's one of my childhood favorites that I would get super excited for. And in tonight's live, I'm going to show you how to make it. This is another one of my behind the scenes of what I go through in creating the content that I post to my social media pages for each of you to view. So if you've seen any of my lives before, you know the first thing that I do is go through and record my voiceover audio. I do have my setup right here behind me, as well as everything that I need in terms of the ingredients for this recipe video. But in my hand is my notes that I have for essentially the step-by-step of what to do and everything that I will be saying, more or less. There are times where I do make like on-the-spot changes of whatever it is that I say. And the last page is just essentially the ingredients needed. Anything that you see above this bold line is essentially my introduction, is what you see at the beginning of my videos. That bold line is just a way for me to know that it is essentially, these are the lines that I say for the intro of my videos. And then anything that is highlighted is essentially a signal for me in that step where I change the camera angle so it focuses on me as I am saying whatever it is in terms of the step of the recipe video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First things first is recording the voiceover audio. So let me turn on my lights and my camera, and then we can get started. So this part should be easy for the most part. Essentially, I read my lines and then I re-record. If I stumble on any of my lines, it does happen sometimes, which is okay. So it's a quick and easy fix. But for this part, I just go through and record my lines. Start this recipe by frying diced onions, with minced garlic over medium heat until they begin to brown. Mix in chopped parsley, then remove it from the heat. In a large bowl, crack in the eggs. Now add the, nope. So let's try that one again. Let me delete that clip so that way when it comes time for the editing, it's one less clip that I have to go through. Add the fried onions mixture. Season it with ground cumin, sea salt, black pepper, and a pinch of baking soda. Then add a little bit of, I don't know why I paused slash choked on that. I was supposed to say then add a little bit of flour. I don't know why I paused at flour. So let me delete that one and take two. Then add a little bit of flour until it forms a consistency similar to pancake batter. Now brush olive oil on a baking dish. Add the Eggah batter. All right, let's try it again. I was supposed to say add the Eggah batter, but then I said bat. I don't know why I stopped at the second syllable or before the second syllable. Let's try it again. Add the Eggah batter. And drizzle a little olive oil on top. Here it is, fresh out of the oven. It should be nice and fluffy like this. Egyptian style Eggah. All right, so that was a very simple voiceover audio recording because this recipe is a very simple recipe. It's essentially, as you heard, just frying the onions and garlic, then incorporating the parsley. Then you take it off the heat and you crack some eggs into a bowl, add the seasonings, add the fried onions mixture, add a little bit of baking soda and flour, and then you bake it in the oven. So this is a very simple recipe video in comparison to my last one where I made macaroni bechamel. And if you have not watched that video, the final cut of that recipe video is posted to all of my social media platforms. So definitely go check it out if you have not already. So that's the end of my voiceover recordings. All that's left is for me to record is anything that is highlighted because those shots will be where I reposition the camera to focus on me as a whole as I am doing whatever it is, whatever step it is in the process of the recipe. And then of course the intro and finally the ending where I say Yallah, Bismillah, and I essentially I eat in this case the Eggah, which is an Egyptian style omelette. So up next, turn this way. And then I also need to rotate my camera. All right. I'm actually going to turn off this camera for now because what I have to do next is prepare the onions, the garlic, and the parsley. So what I am actually about to do is I'm going to relocate you guys to a better position. So that was YouTube. And here is TikTok. I need to find a dual tripod, I guess you can call it, to where I could attach both phones to the same tripod, so that way both of you have the same point of view. 1 second, I just need to plug in. There we go. Tilt you up, and we should be okay. So for this next part, I'm dicing, peeling the onions and garlic. I'm going to dice the onion, mince the garlic, and then I have some parsley. I'm not going to be using all of this parsley, but I'm also going to be chopping the parsley. So usually for the final cuts of my recipe videos, I usually do not show, for the most part, I do not show the chopping process. Like for the onions and the garlic, I usually edit that part out. But since we are live, you guys get a full look of everything that I do essentially in its raw form. So if I was not live right now, I would be doing this anyways. And then when the time comes for me to start recording for the actual final cut, then I will turn my camera back on and record the shots that I need. And of course, this onion peel does not is not going anywhere. For those of you just joining in, welcome to my kitchen. I am Muhammad, the Egyptian cook. And right now I am in the process of not only attempting to peel this onion, but also making an Egyptian style omelet called Eggah. So this was one of my childhood favorites. I ate it more so when I was a kid, like elementary school age, I would say. Was when Mama would make this more often, and I would always get super excited for it because it's eggs, and I love eggs. And it's a very simple recipe to follow. It's a simple omelet, and it's very flavorful. And so I figured I'd shine some light on this recipe. So that is what we are making tonight. Hopefully tonight, based on the process of peeling this onion. Almost there. Hopefully I can peel this onion before the end of 2025. Let's see how it goes. All right, onion is peeled. Hopefully the garlic can be much quicker. So once I have the garlic peeled, then I will go ahead and start with dicing up the onion, followed by the garlic, and then last but not least, the parsley. It does seem like the garlic is going much quicker than what the onion did. Got 2 more cloves, and we are good to go. And the final garlic clove. All right, garlic is peeled. So is the onion. I'm just going to dispose of all this peel, so I will be right back. Just going around the corner from you guys. And I am back. So I'm just going to shave off a little piece of the onion so that way it can lay without rolling around all over the place as I am dicing. Now I'm going to go through and just dice these a little bit finer. I don't want to make it too fine, but I also don't want them to be giant pieces like this. One more run through and these onions should be good to go. All right, I think the onions are good. Slide that over. Now, up next is the garlic. A good like I guess you can call it kitchen hack or technique you could use for dicing garlic to prevent it from sticking to your knife or to your fingers as you're dicing it is just run the blade under some water as well as your fingertips. So that is what I am about to do right now. And now, so the blade is wet and so are my fingers. And that will prevent the garlic from sticking to the blade and or your fingers. So any garlic that's on the blade should slide right off, just like that. So based on the quantity of garlic you are preparing, you may have to reapply more water, just based on however much garlic you are preparing. So it's 2 down, 4 more to go. Going to go apply more water because I can feel it starting to stick. So just as before, just run your fingers and the blade underneath some water, just enough to get them wet, and it will keep the garlic from sticking to both. It should slide right off the blade and off your fingers. Simple as that, because of a wet blade. And we are down to the final garlic. Now I'm going to run through with the blade to get this even finer. I'm going to go run a little bit more water on the blade, so I'll be right back. And also along my fingers. All right, I think the garlic is good to go. So we can put that to the side. I'm going to wash my hands, and I will be right back. All right, I am back. Up next is the parsley. I'm not going to use all of this parsley. It's a small bunch. So for this, just all you need to do is just dice it. And once this parsley is diced up, then we can start cooking. We are almost there with the parsley. All right, parsley looks good. I'm going to go rinse off my hands and the knife as well. So I will be right back. All right, I am back. So the onion is diced and ready. The garlic is good to go as well. And we just finished up the parsley. So I need to move some things around the counter in order to start cooking. All right. Up next is the countertop stove. I need to turn this camera on. So right now I'm looking over at my monitor, which is connected to my camera to see the view, the angle of the shot, and I do need to adjust the angle. So I will be right back. I'm just simply going around you to readjust the camera angle. All right, let's see how we look. I need to adjust one more time. All right, let's see how we look. All right, I think that will be good. So first shot is going to be the pan flip, followed by turning on the flame, adding the olive oil, and we can start cooking. So that's the first shot. And then I adjust the camera to get a close-up. And then I blend the two when it comes time for editing. I blend the two shots together to give it a smooth transition and motion in terms of the flip and setting the pan down onto the countertop, or the stove top, I should say. It's a countertop stove, but just reaching. I need to replace the canister. So just give me one moment while I get that. try that again. All right, take two. All right, now I need to adjust the camera again. That's the reason why I turned off the flame, especially considering that it does take time for me to adjust each time. All right, we are almost there. All right, I'm coming back now. Let's check the shot. Need to angle this down even lower. Let's see how we look. Need to raise it up a little bit higher. So bear with me, please, and thank you. All right, this should be okay. So that was the olive oil shot. Once this heats up, then I will add in the onions, which I diced up about 10 minutes ago or so. And if you're just joining in, welcome to my kitchen. I am Mohammed the Egyptian Cook, and right now we are in the process of making Egyptian style Eggah, which is it's an Egyptian style omelet called the Eggah. So right now we are about to start cooking the onions as well as the garlic. I'm going to take a little piece of onion right here. Give it about 15, 20 more seconds. I was just checking to see if the oil is ready or not based on if it sizzled from that one onion. So any moment now, I will add the onions. All right, so that takes care of the onions. Up next is the garlic, but I'm going to run the blade under some water so that way the garlic can slide right off the blade. All right, so I applied water to the blade. So now the blade is wet. I'm going to push the garlic onto the blade, like so, and it should slide right off. So let me start recording. Works like magic each and every time. All right, and then any leftover garlic that was on the cutting board. Going to rinse my hands. Spoon and little plate. Oops. For this next shot, it's simply just going to be me mixing the onions and the garlic. So once the onions and the garlic start to brown, then I will add in the parsley. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready on the blade. And also, while waiting on the onions, I'm going to gather the eggs. Whole lot of eggs. Going to be using 8 eggs. Back to the onions and garlic. Starting to get a little bit of color on the onions and garlic. So a couple more minutes, then I will incorporate the parsley, which I have chopped and ready over here. And then once the parsley is added, give it a nice mix, and then we turn off the heat. And then we're going to crack the eggs into a large bowl, beat them, and then incorporate all the ingredients, and then pour it into a baking dish. Oops. Pour it into a baking dish, as well as add the seasonings and the remaining ingredients, and then we are going to bake it in the oven. onions are starting to brown. So I'm going to give it a little bit more. Here you go, YouTube. Here's your look. And here you go, TikTok. Here is your look. Going to grab the bowl. Going to be using a large bowl for this, for mixing all the ingredients together. All right, the onions have some nice color now. Here, let me give you guys a look. Here you go, YouTube, and here you go, TikTok. I'm over here making a mess. That is okay though. All right, let's incorporate the parsley. Actually, I need to do so that was the parsley. Half of it fell on the countertop. All right, let's give it a mix. There is parsley all over the counter. That is okay. For this next shot, I'm simply going to remove this from the heat. Simple as that. So I'm actually going to set this behind us on the stove behind me. I no longer need this countertop stove, so I can put this away as well. Let me wipe down the countertop from my mess. So I need to adjust the camera now for this next shot. and I was still recording this entire time. I don't know why. Forgot to hit stop record, but that's okay. Let me adjust even more. One moment while I adjust the angle, please, and thank you. All right, so for this next shot, this is one of my lines where I say, let it cool for a few minutes before mixing it with the eggs. Let this onion mixture cool for a few minutes before incorporating it with the eggs. All right, let's review how we look. I was holding it way too low, so it's like at the bottom of the frame in the shot, so I need to retake this. Let this cool for a few minutes before you incorporate it with the eggs. Let's see how we look. Hopefully I was not holding it as low. Nope, I'm still holding it too low in the shot. Let's try it again. All right, so I need to hold it at least this high. I need to tilt it more. Instead of holding it like this, I need to tilt it more. So let's try this again. Let this cool for a few minutes before you incorporate it with the eggs. All right, let's review. Hopefully 3's a charm. We're good to go. Very good. All right, so for this next shot, I actually need to tilt the camera down so it focuses on the bowl. Change the zoom a little bit. All right. Right, so for this next part, I am cracking the eggs. I need a fork. It sounded like, yep, a little piece of the shell went in there. going to wash my hands. All right, so eggs are cracked, are in the bowl and beaten. Up next, we are going to add the onions and then the seasonings. I'm just going to grab a little dish plus the salt and pepper. All right, there's the salt and pepper. Have some ground cumin. Where's the remote? There we go. There we go. Now it stopped recording. Let me push out. The rest of the onions. Up next is the cumin. That's the ground cumin. Up next is sea salt. And finally, the black pepper. No longer need these. I also need just a pinch of baking soda. That's a pinch. That was the baking soda. Now I'm going for the flour. I'm going to do about 1/4 cup to start. So you want the consistency to be kind of similar to pancake batter. You don't want it to be like crazy thick, but you also don't want it to be runny. You want to find that happy medium. One moment. It looks like TikTok wants me to do this verification thing, the little puzzle piece. All right. So all the ingredients are mixed, or I should say are in the bowl. Now you need to mix it. So it's eggs, flour, the fried onions with garlic and parsley, and seasoning, and a pinch of baking soda is what is currently in this bowl. And the seasonings I used are very simple seasonings: ground cumin, salt, and pepper. There we go. Camera did not want to stop recording for that shot. So this is a good happy medium consistency. You could add a little bit more flour if you wanted to, but it is not necessary. Up next, I do need to adjust the camera angle because I have a recording line that I need to complete. So just bear with me here as I change the angle, please and thank you. We are almost there. All right, heading back, and I'm going to check to see how it looks. Making another adjustment to its position. Let's see how we look. All right, so for this next line, I'm going to say, oh, does that mean I could cook this on the stove top? Okay, khalas, you can cook it on stove top, or you can bake this in the oven. No, that doesn't sound right. So this is essentially the part of the video where I essentially mock the haters in a way, more or less, by adding a little bit of comedic relief with what I say. And I do include a little bit of yelling, because yelling is also a form of my comedic relief in regards to my reactions and to my tone. I just need to figure out how exactly I'm going to say this, because I wrote it in afterwards, but it's not hitting right. I can cook this. So the reason why I keep on tapping my refrigerator like that, because it likes to make this like rattling noise, which can be really loud and annoying, but if I give it a little tap, then it stops making that rattling noise. So, does that mean I can cook this stovetop? Does that, no. If you're making pancake batter, are you cooking this stovetop? Okay, Khalas, pay attention to the next step. I think that's how I'm going to say it. Oh, if you're making this like pancake batter, are you cooking it stovetop? Then I will say, okay, Khalas, pay attention to the next step. Oh, are you making the, if you're making this like pancake batter, does that mean you're cooking it stovetop? Okay, Khalas, pay attention to the next step. All right, let's see if we can get this in one take. Oh, if you're making this like pancake batter, does that mean I can cook it stovetop? Oh, if you're making this like pancake batter, does that mean I get to cook it? Nope. Let's try it again. Oh, if you're cooking. No, not if I'm cooking. If you're making this like pancake batter, does that mean you're cooking it stovetop? Oh, if you're making this like pancake batter, does that mean you're going to cook it stovetop? Okay, Khalas, pay attention to the next step. All right, let's see how that one looks. That was what, take 3 or take 4? I'm gonna try one more, and then when it comes time for editing, I will choose whichever one is better between the two. Oh, if you're making this like pancake batter, does that mean you're going to cook it stovetop? Okay, Khalas, pay attention to the next step. All right, let's see. I slipped up at the beginning of it, but I think I recovered. Let's see. Okay, I think that one's going to work. Okay, now up next, I need a baking dish. And then I need a brush. and some olive oil. I also need to adjust the camera angle for this next shot. So I need to tilt it down so it focuses more onto the baking dish. All right, let's see how we look. I need to tilt it down just a little bit more. All right, that should be okay. Where's the remote? This next shot will be the olive oil going in. That was the brushing of the olive oil. Up next is to pour in the batter. I'm also going to preheat my oven right now to 350 degrees. So this next shot, I'm pouring in the batter. All right, so that was that shot. Right, so that's all set. Next shot is a little bit of olive oil on top. Next shot is me lifting this up. I need to adjust the camera up so it focuses on me. And I'm going to do the same lift up motion, and I'm going to record my next line where I say bake this in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes. Bake this in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, let's review that shot, see how we look. Move this out of the way. we're good to go. I need to actually clear some of this counter space because I do need to move the camera over so that way it can show the oven. So this can all go here. Don't need it. This can move out of the way too. Right, so let me, YouTube, let's go this way a little bit, and TikTok, let's go this way a little bit. And then my other camera, let's go this way, and let's adjust. To move the shelf. So if you were part of my last live, oh my god, I need to this is no bueno. I need to. So on my last live, when I made the macaroni bechamel, the some of it overflowed and hit the bottom of the not the stove, the oven. And right now it is currently smoking, so I would not be surprised if I set off the smoke detector before anything even happened. Oh my goodness, this is no bueno. Let me move this out of the way. How can I do this? See, there's the smoke detector before anything even baked. All right. Let me move this out. All right. Both of these grates are out. Let's see, how can I do this? Oh boy. Oh, welcome to my kitchen, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate all of you for being here with me as this oops, sorry about that, YouTube. Almost just knocked you guys over. But thank you for being here with me during this fun adventure. All right. Here's what I will do. There we go. This is part of what was causing the smoke. So let's get rid of that. Here's another piece. All right, let's try this again. Take two. All right, preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's see how it goes this time. So far, so good. While the oven is preheating this time, I'm going to set up the angle for my camera so I can take the shot of me putting it in the oven. All right, let's line up the shot. Make sure the camera's good. All right, so that was that shot of me putting it in the oven. One thing that I do anytime I bake stuff in the oven is before I actually let it bake, is I line up my next shot for when it comes out of the oven. So let me go ahead and get that ready. So I need to move my camera back. So one moment while I do that, please, and thank you. Need one of these. All right, so I had the camera positioned to how I want it. I'm still waiting for the oven to preheat. Let me check and make sure that we're good to go on the inside. All right, it's not as bad as before. It was that giant piece that was like kicked onto the bottom from the other night that caused that smoke detector to go off just a few moments ago. But we should be good for this, for baking this. It does take about 15 to 20 minutes in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for it to bake. So once we put this in the oven, then I'm going to go ahead and relocate you guys, and we're going to clean up the kitchen while we wait on it to bake. By the time we finish cleaning up the kitchen, we should be almost ready for this to come out of the oven. We're going to cut into it, plate it, and eat. So this is an Egyptian style omelet. It's a very simple process and simple ingredients needed. Obviously the eggs, onions, garlic, parsley. Seasonings include cumin, ground cumin, sea salt, and black pepper. You could also add ground coriander as well if you would like. And then there's also baking soda and flour included with this. So it's very simple ingredients, and it's Egyptian style omelet called Eggah. So this is actually something that Mama would make quite frequently, especially back when I was like in elementary school age. This was when I would always enjoy Eggah. But as I got older, like especially my teenage years and adult years, I haven't had Eggah in a very long time. So hopefully this recipe also brings back some nostalgic memories for each of you who are viewing this as well. And I will be working on the final cut, editing the final cut for this recipe video and posting it to my social media pages in the coming days. So definitely stay tuned for that. There's the beep for the oven. All right, in the oven we go. All right, it is currently 7:53. So 15 minutes from now, that puts us at 8:08. So at 8:08, we are going to check the status of the Eggah. While that is in the oven, let's go ahead and get cleaned up. So I need to make some room so I can move you guys over to the sink area. Moat. So just bear with me here as I clear some space. All right, YouTube, I'm moving you first. I'm going to put you right here. And TikTok, moving you next. Putting you right here. Still need to replace my broken whisk, so I just have that there for now as a reminder. So this should be a very simple cleanup. I essentially put everything in the dishwasher with the exception of pots and pans. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently 8:01. We still have 7 more minutes left until we hit the 15-minute mark on the Egyptian style baked omelet that we have been working on, also known as Eggah. This is a childhood favorite of mine that Mama would make, especially during like my elementary school days. So it's been a very long time since I've had this dish. It is currently baking in the oven right now as we speak. So let me give you guys a look at that. YouTube. Here is how it looks thus far. We're about halfway through the bake time. And then, let me set you guys down over here. Let's give, oops, sorry about that. Now let's give TikTok a look. We're about halfway through the bake time right now. So we are almost there. So let me set you guys back over here. Welcome back. All right, so while we're waiting on the Eggah to finish baking, what's coming up next is once it finishes baking, once it is done baking, and I'm going to take the shot, setting it down where I say here it is fresh out of the oven. I already recorded that line saying that, which I did as a voiceover audio clip. And then I'm going to slice into it, I'm going to plate it, and then I still have to record my intro lines, which is anything that you see that is above this bold line right here. It's just a few lines that I have to record. One of which is, this is one of my childhood favorites. You have to try this Egyptian food. So it's my outro and my intro in one shot. And then the next one is going to be where I say, this is Eggah. Then the third shot will be where I say Eggah is an Egyptian style baked omelette. Once I have those shots recorded, then I will go back to the end where I say Yallah, Bismillah, and then I will eat. So we are at the tail end of this, of creating this recipe video, and I hope you enjoy the final cut, which I will be editing tonight. And if I do not post it to my social media pages tomorrow, I will be posting it for sure Saturday morning. So definitely stay tuned for this upcoming recipe video. Also, what's in store for the future, I also have coming up is a pickled lemon recipe, which is very popular in Egyptian culture as well. But this one takes at least a week for me to prepare and for like the pickling process. So this one is coming, I would say soon, but like in the next couple of weeks for the final cut will be definitely in the next couple of weeks. It is at least a 7-day pickling process before the lemons are ready. Also have, let's see here, I have another eggs recipe, eggs with basturma. This is very popular in Egyptian culture as well. A couple months ago when I was in Egypt, I made it while I was there, but I also want to recreate it here where I have it like in my, with like my style of shooting and all of that. And plus, it's a fan favorite as well. So eggs with basturma is coming soon as well. And then these next three, they're kind of like a part 1, part 2, part 3, but it's not necessarily where I cut the recipe after each part, where I'm splitting it into 3. There are 3 different standalone things, but in order for me to make the third one, I need the first 2. So the first one, it's very simple. It's clarified butter. It does not get any easier than melting some butter and removing and harvesting the clarified butter and separating it from the milk solids. So that's the first one. And the reason why I need to make the clarified butter is for step 2. Step 2 is for morta. Morta is Arabic for milk solids. So it's essentially it's a delicacy in Egyptian culture where you take the milk solids, you add more salt to it, and you brown it. You cook it until it browns. And you could use it to make eggs, for example. You could use it to, you can eat it with bread. You can use it in a lot of your cooking. But that's not the reason why I'm making morta, okay? Step 3 for the next one would be for making mish. So I will actually be making mish from scratch. Mish is a very old aged cheese in Egyptian culture. So for making mish, I'm going to show you what you need, like how to essentially make the khamira. I'm not sure what khamira translates to in English, but the khamira is essentially like, I guess you could call it the sauce, not sauce like tomato sauce, but I'm just calling it sauce. It's the sauce that the cheese sits in, and one of the main ingredients that you need for the khamira when making mish is morta, which is the milk solids. So that's why I have it as like a part 1, part 2, part 3. But like I said, part 1, like where I make the clarified butter, I'm going to show you all the way through how to make the clarified butter. And same thing for part 2, where I make the morta. I'm going to show you all the way through of how to prepare it. And also for part 3, I'm going to show you all the way through on how to make the mish. So each video will be a standalone, but they're also part of a greater project, because I need the first 2 in order to make the last one, which is the mish. And for the mish, that will be my annual video where each year I go back and because once you prepare the khamira and you add the cheese to it, I'm going to wait at least a year before I even eat the cheese or anything like that. So this will be something that I come back to each year, and each year I will be adding to it and showing you a different way of how to enjoy mish. So I am super excited for this one, essentially because mish is one of my favorite cheeses out there. So let me check on the status of the eggs, because it is currently 8:09. So I'm actually going to bring it out here to you guys and we can take a look together. So just one moment, please. I'm grabbing a toothpick right now. Going to give it a couple more minutes. So it is currently 8:10. So about 2 more minutes. We put it in at 7:53. So if I take it out at it's currently 8:10. If I take it out at 8:12 or 8:13, that will put it at exactly 20 minutes. So that is the plan. Let me turn on the other camera so I can have that shot ready as well. And we are going to be good to go. Let me put away these toothpicks. Some leftover parsley. I need to need the knife. I also need this right here, and a plate. All right. Let's go ahead and get it out of the oven. Okay. Up next, I need to cut it. I'm actually going to use the plate. Use this plate instead. Put this one back. Turn off the oven. Just going around the edges. I need to adjust the camera angle for this next shot where I remove the slice from the baking dish. So just bear with me for a moment here while I do that, while I get this shot ready. Getting the first piece is always the hardest part because I do not want to break it or destroy it. Right, so that one was done. Now I need to grab my little turntable thing over here. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to move this out of the way. Be right back. This I do not need. This not yet. Actually, All right, YouTube, here we go. TikTok, here we go. All right, I think I got everything that I need for that shot. Now I just need to adjust the camera again and record some lines before I can eat. All right, let's check the shot. I need a fork. Fork. Where's the remote? This is one of my childhood favorites. You have to try this Egyptian food. All right, let's see how we look. I want to make sure, I'm checking to make sure that the food is in focus. Nope. Let's try that again. What the hell? There we go. This is one of my childhood favorites. You have to try this Egyptian food. All right, let's check the focus on it and make sure everything's okay. This is one of my childhood favorites. You have to try this Egyptian food. Okay, I think we're okay. This is Eggah. Okay, let's review it. This is Eggah. Okay. Eggah is an Egyptian-style omelet. Did I say A or an? I'm supposed to say an, but I think I said A. Let's see. Play. Okay, I said an Egyptian-style is an Egyptian-style omelet. Okay, next shot. This is where I say Yallah, Bismillah. Yallah, Bismillah. Yallah, Bismillah. Yallah, Bismillah. Yallah, Bismillah. All right, let's review. As long as one of them is okay, we're good to go. Okay, food's in focus. Check. I think we're good to go. Now I can eat. Before I do, TikTok, here you go. Here's the final look. YouTube, here you go. Here's the final look. Mm-hmm. That was really good. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I just made this Egyptian style omelet known as Eggah. Here you go, YouTube. Here's a look. Here you go, TikTok. Here is a look. It's very simple, easy to follow recipe, which I will be posting. I'll be working on the final cut tonight, and it will be posting to my social media pages no later than Saturday morning. With that being said, thank you for everybody who joined in this live and stayed with me. You got to watch me make this Egyptian style omelet known as Eggah. This was one of my childhood favorites that Mama would make back when, especially when I was in elementary school. That's the last time I remember enjoying this. It's a very simple recipe with very simple ingredients. It's eggs, onions, garlic, parsley. And then the seasonings include cumin, salt, and pepper. And then a pinch of baking soda and flour. You mix it all together and then you bake it in the oven. And this is the final result. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live where I made this Eggah. Also, be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. At the Egyptian Cook is my tag for all of my social medias: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, even Snapchat. It's all at the Egyptian Cook. No symbols, no numbers, none of that. Thank you all for joining in tonight. That concludes tonight's live. If you're not already following me or subscribe to my YouTube, please follow my social medias and also subscribe to my YouTube. With that being said, thank you all for being here tonight, and good night until next time.